Good afternoon, Facebook. And thank you so much for those of you that are hopping on. I am so appreciative that you're spending a part of your afternoon and hopefully your lunch with us. So we're so thrilled to launch a new series. Sorry, I had something. The technology gods are really messing with us today. And again, I apologize for the delay, but we're excited to launch this new series we're calling the Exceptional Series. And I have a cool announcement to make. J. Brown Realtors has agreed to sponsor this entire series for us. So we thought, what a fitting way to introduce this series then to interview our own Jay Brown with Jay Brown Realtors. So we're going to get to him in a minute, but I want to encourage you to engage with us. So if you are watching us live, I want to ask you a question so that we can test comments. So where was the last place that you supported local? Okay, so give us the name of the local business that you patronize. Maybe you picked up lunch from somewhere today. Maybe you shopped for a gift somewhere in the last week. So I encourage you to use the comments and share with us so that I can make sure that we can see the comments. So I'm going to give you just a minute. Also want to encourage you to share the stream. So this live feed will be up for some time, but we encourage you to share it with someone, maybe tag someone in the comments who needs to hear this, but also share it with share it on your page, or even start a watch party. So when you click start a watch party, it shows the rest of your friends that you're watching it, and people can hop on and enjoy the content as well. So I can definitely see the comments. So we're going to get rolling. So again, thank you all for joining us. If you are watching, you're tuning in now and you're watching the replay, I encourage you to write that you're watching a replay. So the replay, so we know that you joined us today. Well, I'm excited to actually get to interview Jay. I said, I'm looking forward to seeing you in the hot seat. Jay, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Lindsay. It's good to be here.
Yeah, and thanks again for continuing to sponsor and make this possible. We appreciate it. So a little bit about Jay. Jay is a husband, father, realtor, and entrepreneur. He's a small business champion and a lover of all things local. He's the owner and founder of J. Brown Realtors, and he wanted to make sure everyone knew that he was a partner of the Chamber. So we're very, very grateful that you are a partner of the Chamber. And also affectionately, most of us know him as Homeboy. If you have one of his Jay Brown is my homeboy t-shirts, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But like we do every Facebook Live, we're going to start out with a rapid fire Q&A to get to know Jay a little bit better. So hopefully, if you've known Jay in a professional light, hopefully you'll learn a little bit about him, sort of the Jay behind the scenes that maybe you don't know. So, all right, you ready for this, Jay?
I think I am. Yes.
All right, here we go. So, what does it mean to be exceptional?
To be exceptional in my mind would mean to go above and beyond, to deliver far more than what's asked of you.
Nice. What's one cause that's near and dear to your heart?
Oh gosh, local community, especially here lately. It just seems like that's a big part of the focus and what we're about right now.
What's the most requested feature of a home from your buyers?
A really low price and a really big house. Probably kitchens and good bathrooms and master bedrooms. But kitchens are big. Kitchens are huge.
What's your favorite sports team?
The Minnesota Vikings.
Of course.
Of course.
Of course, you bleed that purple. I know. What was your very first job?
My first real job or my first job?
Whatever, either one.
Okay. The first job I got paid for, I actually used to detail limousines.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
That's cool. Now, what's the first job you didn't get paid for?
The babysitting my sister.
Nice.
Yeah, all kinds of other things.
Yeah, that's right. The chores, the chores. All right. What's your ideal vacation spot for you, Aspen, and the kids?
Oh, we love Disney World, so that's been the go-to lately. I think as they get older, that will change, but for now, that's the place to be.
Nice. We haven't ventured down to Disney yet. We're going to have to do that soon for sure. All right. If you had one superpower, what would it be, Jay?
You know, you asked me this earlier, and I thought I had an answer to it, but I don't know, flying or invisibility. I think those are both good, or to be able to read people's minds. I'm going to go with read people's minds.
Uh-huh. All right. Virtual meeting pet peeve.
I think it's the ending where it's very awkward, where everybody signs off.
Bye.
Yes.
Bye. Yeah, that's great.
I don't know if that's a pet peeve or just
you expect people to like start tipping their hats, right?
Yeah.
Nice. All right. What's one thing you can't live without?
Oh gosh, my family, you know,
Early bird or night owl?
definitely an early bird.
Early bird gets the worm, right?
Hmm.
What's the best thing about Catawba County?
This one's easy. You guys know it's the people.
Amen. All right. To be buyer ready, what's one piece of advice you'd give a seller in regards to their home?
You know, I think preparation before you hit the market is huge. Just making sure the house is ready to go, standing tall.
What's the last book that you read?
A book called Indistractable.
Nice. What is the most random fact about you?
You know, I don't know. I used to.
I'm wondering what you're going to say right now.
There's a lot. I don't know. I used to play in a punk rock band when I was.
Yes. What was the name of your band?
Well, there were several. So the first band was called The Buzz, and then there was a band called Fandango. So
nice. Now, did you play guitar?
Bass and guitar, yes.
Bass and guitar. Nice. Okay. All right. And then final question. What's one adjective to describe entrepreneurship?
Grit.
Oh, yes. Especially in the last several months, right, Jay?
That's correct.
I've definitely seen grit modeled time and time again through our business community. And it's pretty incredible what a group of entrepreneurs can do. Don't test them, right? Don't bet against them because they're always going to come through. If you're just joining us on our Facebook Live Q&A, I have the privilege of interviewing Jay Brown with Jay Brown Realtors here. So welcome to all of you who are engaging. I want to go ahead and encourage you to write a comment or a question. If there's anything that you like that Jay has to say in the next several minutes, give him a like, heart, give a wow face, so that we can make sure that as many people can see this video as possible. All right, so about our rapid fire Q&A, we have a question from Facebook, Jay.
Great.
All right, so it says someone wants to ask Jay about the book he'll know.
The book. That's probably Joey Mosteller, I would think. Probably The Greatest Salesman in the World.
Yeah. Yes, she says it is from Joey.
Oh, okay.
That has to be it then.
That's Joey. So that book is probably, if you know me, that's one of the best books I think I've ever read.
What's the biggest piece of advice from that book that you've used throughout your career?
You know, that book it's called The Greatest Salesman in the World, but it's really about mindset. And it's a quick read, but it's a very good book. It is probably one of the best foundational mindset books that I've ever read, other than the Bible, of course.
So, so speaking of mindset, uh, who is Jay Brown? What's your why? What drives you as an individual, as a professional? Share with us a little bit about what makes you who you are, Jay.
Well, first and foremost, I'm a believer, and then followed by being a husband, followed by being a father, and then followed by the people that I guess I have the ability to be around. So in a nutshell, just trying to be the best I can in each one of those areas in that order.
That's awesome. I think it's so critically important that we all identify our why, right? I mean, it's more than just selling houses, right, Jay? For you, when I met you, from the whole Jay Brown is your homeboy to the vibe of supporting local and supporting entrepreneurs around you, not just adding to your own coffers or own barn, so to speak, but you pour into others. And I think that is certainly something that sets you apart. So I commend you for your support and your investment in this community, not just from a financial standpoint, but just from a leadership standpoint. So thank you for modeling that for others. So with the state of business changing rapidly, how are you dealing with moving forward?
Yeah, and I think that's a good question for any entrepreneur right now or small business owner. You have to be quick to notice change, and you have to be able to understand what that means as far as how you shape your business and how you deal with your clients. I think any small business is built around the relationships that they have with their clients, and then the relationship as far as delivering service to those clients. So I think in real estate as a whole, before what we're going through right now, has been very different. There's a lot of change, a lot of versatility in a lot of the companies that are coming out right now. And I think we just have to be quick to change, quick to embrace technology. We can't be set in our ways. We can't be old hat with the information and the way that we deal with our clients and our VIPs and that sort of thing. So I would say being embracing of technology and change is probably the biggest challenge that we have right now.
Do you see that as a challenge in your industry overall? I mean, it seems that, well, especially through the pandemic, you guys you've been forced to go very virtual. But in general, just real estate industry, are you seeing that that's sort of the differentiator between those that are doing okay and those that are doing exceptionally well? Technology?
Yeah, I think technology and just the ability to embrace change, to be proactive rather than reactive, definitely. And I think that it affects any industry right now. Real estate has been fortunate. We have stayed on course for most situations. And we will probably be affected more long-term with this, I believe, than short-term.
Yeah.
And we'll be ready for that. So.
Jay, even before this pandemic, we had a real estate market is hot, right? I mean, it still is. You have buyers every day. The issue is truly inventory, correct? I mean, give us your perception, your vantage point of the market overall.
Yeah, so locally in this, I think when I say local, it's obviously Catawba Valley, most of North Carolina, most of the East Coast. Inventory as a whole has just been low.
Yeah.
Good homes that are move-in ready, that are in good shape, that don't need a ton of work. Those homes are going to sell very quickly. There's not a lot of builders building newer homes, especially in our location. Affordable housing in general, you guys deal with that at the chamber.
Yeah.
It comes up over and over again. There's a lot of companies out here that are looking for employees, and they're having a tough time finding employees because the employees that look in this area are having a hard time finding a place to live. So you see a lot of apartment complexes going up right now in and around Catawba County. Denver area is starting to sprout some homes down that way. But in general, we are in a real need of affordable housing. And that's a challenge for the builders as well. It's just hard to make a profit on lower priced homes. And when I say that, it's not even really cheap homes. It's 250 and below maybe.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And we have been, as you know, Jay, you've been engaged with us in having housing as an affordable housing as a priority for economic development and community growth, right? We've got to grow population to fill jobs, but in order to bring more people into our community, they have to have somewhere to live. And so I did see good news. The last report that I saw from year over year, we've seen 100% increase in number of residential building permits, which is, again, good news. That shows intentional work. And you guys in your industry have really been the voice to lead that demand. So thank you for that. So going back to client interaction and communication, what do you feel has been the biggest challenge, both during the pandemic, but also just in general in dealing with client interaction and communication?
So people are, and especially right now, people take this differently, the situation that we're in. Some people embrace it. Some people are very concerned with the situations that we're going through. I think as a leader or as a broker in charge at our firm, we want to really just slow down and just make sure that we're listening to our clients and our VIPs to make sure that we are putting them in a position where they're very comfortable moving through a transaction. And communication is probably the biggest challenge, just making sure. And we had the opportunity to go very virtual. We can go paperless. We can virtually sell a home without ever seeing a client, if other than walk through. And you can even do those virtually. So we really have to just slow down and just make sure that our clients are comfortable with the process, and make sure that we are being very we're taking the time to slow down and just making sure we're paying attention to what's important to our clients. And that's been and I think that's our culture in general is set up that way, to where we are very thorough with the process and make sure that we understand who we're dealing with and how they would like to be dealt with. But even more so now, we really have to slow down and ask a lot more questions to make sure people are comfortable.
In the rapid fire Q&A, you mentioned some of the things that buyers and some recommendations for buyers, but also some recommendations for sellers. And the things that you hear most often are, features in the home, right? It's got to be what I want. And most of the time, I guess the reality is, hopefully you can find your ideal, like your dream home. But then sometimes, as you mentioned, we have a shortage of those turnkey, ready to move in type of homes here. So you might have to do a little bit of tweaking. But other than the home, Jay, what do you hear most often from buyers when it comes to our community? So first of all, what kind of selling points do you use on Catawba County in general? And then what do people want to hear that the community has to offer for them?
Yeah, so me, I'm a big cheerleader of Catawba County, and in general, I honestly think it's the best place on the planet to live and raise a family. So, and I think that's true with everyone that works in our firm. Randy and Candace and Donna and my wife and myself, we all love, where we live. And, it just, a conversation can start at any point, whether it be about the schools or your kids or the community in general, the chamber. We brag on you guys all the time, local business owners, downtown people, and I could name a grocery list of people that we look up to, and we really think are just awesome folks to be around. So it's not hard. I think that conversation just goes. I don't think there's any aspect of hickory. There's always a little bit of bad that comes with the good, but for the most part. We talk to a lot of people that come in from other places, and Hickory's not a hard sell. It really
Yeah.
isn't. It's a good place to be.
That's great. That's great. All right. So talking about the laundry list of businesses that inspire you. And again, you're an avid supporter of all things local, a lover of all things local. What are some local business owners that have inspired you recently?
Yeah, so you guys have interviewed a couple of them with your last series, so we know who those guys are. Local businesses, Tasteful Beans. I'm a big coffee drinker, and those guys have been great with keeping the doors open and making sure that they are being very, again, proactive with how they relate to their clients.
Yeah.
Zach with 1712 Spirits, he converted his distillery into, as well as Katie.
Yeah.
They were making soap and spirits, and now they're making rum and alcohol and hand sanitizer, which is really cool. Again, these are local businesses. We talk a lot about lizard organizations and bullfrog organizations, and these businesses are considered lizard organizations.
Nice.
They're very quick to change. They are proactive, and I think that there's a lot of those examples in this community.
I agree, Jay. I mean, we've seen it. We've seen retailers completely prop up websites or e-commerce sites in a matter of days. We've seen, businesses that haven't been so reliant on social media. We've seen them pivot and rely heavily on social media. And like you said, completely shifting production of what they would normally produce, say furniture or textiles, and now they're producing PPE for frontline medical professionals and all the above of those that need to protect themselves. So I too I share your inspiration and all that. So talking about being exceptional, this series is all about it, right? We are intentionally inviting guests that we feel go above and beyond, as you mentioned in your definition of exceptional, someone that truly sets themselves apart. And so Jay, in that, like, what makes your business different? Like, how do you guys at J Brown Realtors, your whole team, how do you operate exceptionally on behalf of your customers?
So I think that goes back to, a little bit of what we talked about before. We try to be very proactive when it comes to situations. We are problem solvers, first of all. We do have a very defined culture in our business. Everyone that works in our firm shares the same values and has the same love for the community. So I think we try to, and I don't know that we try to be exceptional. We just try to make sure that we are going above and beyond for our VIPs and the people that we serve. We are definitely in the service industry. We are able to grow our business through taking care of people. And if we do a good job with that, then it gives us more opportunities. And that's important to us. We always want to be figuring things out and solving problems and doing the best with what we can, the opportunities that we get.
Nice. All right. We have a question from Facebook. Okay. So you mentioned lizards and bullfrogs. So first of all, what is that? Where does that reference come from? And then explain, what is a lizard? What's the definition of a lizard? What's the definition of a bullfrog?
So there's a guy down in Charlotte named Dredd, who is a founder of the workout group that we work out with, called F3.
Oh, nice.
And they wrote a book, and they give examples of what they call a lizard organization and a bullfrog organization. And the difference is kind of what you see, the characteristics of both of those reptiles. A bullfrog sits on a lily pad. It doesn't really do a whole lot of work. It lets opportunities come to it. It doesn't embrace change. It's slow to move, and it runs when it gets scared and jumps in the water. An organization that is proactive and moving forward and quick to change is compared to a lizard in those situations. And you will always see most organizations that are thriving and moving forward are typically lizard organizations. And that's where that reference comes from.
I like that. I like that a lot. Well, and I think
the
that
Chamber of Commerce is definitely a lizard organization.
oh, that means so much to me. Thank you, Jay. We definitely strive to be a lizard for sure. And I think that's an amazing analogy. And I think that's a perfect analogy to kick off this exceptional series. You know, be a lizard, don't be a bullfrog. Maybe we should come up with a meme or something to help promote. I think that's wonderful. What would you like to leave the business community with? So from your experience, Shay, as trying to be exceptional, trying to go above and beyond, to communicate with your clients, to stay on top of your industry, the latest trends, impending threats, what would you, those that are watching are most likely business owners. So what would you like to leave them with and inspire them with in order to help them move forward?
Yeah, I think that's it. I feel like a lot of businesses want things to kind of get back to normal. They want it to be 2019 again or 2007. And instead of looking at it maybe that way, I think it's a good opportunity to say, if this is something that we're dealing with right now, how do we become better right now where we are? Yeah. And how do we take this situation right here, right now, and grow and become adapted to that? And I think that's the key. You know, yeah. There's going to be companies that make it through this, and there's going to be companies that, you know, we saw in the newspaper here a couple of days ago, a solid business in the community closed its doors, and that's always sad to see. Yeah. And sometimes it's affected with things you can control, and sometimes it's things that you can't control.
That's right.
So I think with the things you can control, continue to adapt and grow and look to the future.
I think that's wonderful advice. And I think something that you do, Jay, I think sometimes it's real easy to be a recluse, like to pull back, right? And to hunker down and just look at what's in front of you, certainly in times like this when none of us have a guidebook. But you tend to look out and cling to those around you. And look for examples of people that are inspiring you. So I think that's a big difference in that, Jay. Like, how would you recommend, you know, based on your experience there, do you recommend other people doing what you do, looking out and trying to band together and support other businesses?
Yeah, I mean, community, being a fan of that and being a fan of people in general, we're all in this together. You know, it's at some point, the rain clouds are going to clear out and the sun's going to shine again. And I think we just have to understand that, you know, we can hold our breath and or run or figure it out, but looking at more problems just gives you more problems, and trying to find solutions to your situation is always going to put you ahead of the game. And no matter what happens, you know, you can only do your best. That's the only lot that you're given. And as you do everything that you can do and you hope you make the right decisions, then maybe you come out in the end. And if you don't, then, you know, you don't have any regrets if it doesn't work out. So that would be my advice. Just take every opportunity you have. You know, don't run. Fear's a killer of all dreams, of all things. So embrace what you have. Look for the silver lining. Look for the opportunity in the bad situations. And that's going to provide you an opportunity to move forward and maybe come out of this ahead of where you would have been.
I think that's incredible advice and a great wrap up point, Jay. I want to thank you so much for being our sponsor, but also for being my guest today. Those of you that joined us sort of mid-interview, I hope that you'll go back and listen to the full thing, because it is full of great advice and nuggets that you can take away and apply to your own business. If you are watching the replay, just a reminder, put that you're watching the replay so that we know you stopped by. If you would like to share this video, we greatly appreciate it, just so that more people can hear what Jay has to say. Again, I thank you for your engagement. Thanks for those that asked the question or made a comment on the feed. If there's anyone out there who's interested in being a part of this series in some way, we would welcome your inquiry. We look forward to interviewing several others. I think we've got about 6 different sessions planned for this exceptional series. So stay tuned for our next guest. The announcement will be on our Facebook page. If you haven't liked us or you're not following us, the Chamber of Catawba County, we'd love to have you. And again, thank you to all of our partners who continue to invest in the mission, the pro-business mission of our chamber. Again, it's such a privilege and an honor to serve you in this role. But thank you, Jay, again for being with me today. And we will see you next time.